This
So
conference will now be recorded.
once again, participants, as we are on the concluding day of our 5-day FDP environmental technology. So I wish all of you a very good morning, and to our esteemed speaker, architect Kumar Gupta ji. So he is today with us. So you have already attended another lecture from sir that was on green buildings. That what are green buildings and their how we can design them and how we can go for all that technology. So today again, sir, on our request, is again with us. So today, sir will be delivering lecture on rating system of uh, green buildings. So I think I do not need to introduce again. Hopefully, all of you are familiar with Sir Jeet Kumar Gupta ji. So straight away, I invite Sir to please come to the platform and start his lecture. Please welcome, Sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Borsing ji. I think I must be grateful to you for giving me the second opportunity to be with the learned audience.
It is our pleasure, sir, that you have accepted our invitation twice.
It's an honor for us also that we get connected with so many people and through you courtesy, Sir Borsing ji. So, but
Thank you.
nevertheless, this, as has been said, that this is a, presentation which is focusing on rating systems in India. In fact, this presentation is a continuation of the presentation I made earlier on 15th, when I was talking about, the green building, the context of green building, what green buildings are, how they are defined, what are the components of green building, how we take up the agenda for green building, what are the benefit, what are the context in, the global warming and also carbon footprints. And we were looking at the entire context of the building, built environment, which are basically creation of we as human beings when we came on this earth. So this is, once we looked at the building, the context of the green building, now we defined the green building, then, we would like to ask, is green building a generic term, that every building you design according to that will become a green building? Surely they will become a green building. But question is to what extent that is a green building? That is what we are trying to discuss, the rating systems in India. Like, you have students, all students are studying, and then ultimately, based on their output, they are being rated. They are rated as in honors, or they are rated in first class, second class, third class, depending upon what they score in the, the exam you conduct out of what they learned during that semester, Similarly, we have, green buildings which have been made green. To what extent that building is a green? And that is, there is a system that there is an evaluation of green building, and this is known as a rating systems. So their rating systems are trying to understand the context of green building, to what extent you have done your job to make it as a green building. So let's see, so rating, we are not looking how you rate a green building. Buildings are there, they are a green building, but you are out of these green building, which is the best, which is the worst, in their performance. So that's what the rating of green building is trying to communicate with you. So rating remains a tool, it's a tool to assess the level of greenness in a building. That means to what extent, that this building meets the requirement or the fundamental principle or the basic connotation or the score it gets, on the prescribed format, which we will be discussing, that it's a tool that through which you are trying to assess the greenness of a building. It helps the, designer, that, if we talk of a green building, we talk of, the 7 contexts in which we are looking at the buildings. But question remains, what makes a building green? That must be known to the designer. and that must also be known to the man who is trying to evaluate it. It's both way. So it helps the designer to understand what goes into making of a green building, and so that he is able to build in those kind of features in the building, so that you can measure it exactly, to what extent this building is causing the impact on the environment and ecology. So therefore I think this is a tool which helps both the man who is evaluating, the man who is designing, and then it is trying to give you a context, that we said there are 5 climatic zones, and then we said in each climate zone the requirement of building design will be different. That's what we said. Building in Shimla and Rajasthan, or in the coastal area of Kerala, etc., they will all be designed differently. So therefore they must be know, that they cannot apply a standard formula. They will have to look at the context in the which the building is being designed and the building is located. So I said it's basically helping the designer. It's also helping the agencies, when they are trying to certify. They cannot do on an ad hoc manner. They have to do with objectivity. They cannot be subjective. And evaluation has to be done in a transparent manner. So therefore this rating system provides that format, basing on which the person who is giving you a rating should be able to evaluate. So ultimately rating system helps in you know assessing the performance of a building, evaluating its environmental impact, not only when the building is constructed but over the entire life cycle. Then it also provides the standard what makes a green building, and then it is trying to invent new and new system and material within the system of green buildings, so that they are incorporated and that system remains always dynamic. So we will all see, that there are, it's not that in India, we have in India 4 systems, I discussed with you, there are 4 rating system, but internationally, it started in, they started in the Britain, but the first was the Americans who came into with their own system of rating, and this is known as a lead. Every country has a kind of a rating system which is, used for evaluating in a building. But in India, still we are having 4 systems, and because the government is not controlling that, maybe ultimately we come to one system based on which we, because then there will be uniformity, objectivity, transparency, and then comparative analysis of the buildings. It's not that 4 agencies are doing, and 4 agencies are giving their own rating system and a rating evaluation. That is not the essence. But all major countries of the world, they follow one system, lead. The first was America. It is known as leadership in energy and environmental design. So this is United States Green Council, which is the agency which is trying to evaluate and evolve all these kind of principle, based on which the green buildings are rated. England uses BREEAM. It's a building research establishment environmental and assessment method. World Green Building Council has its own system known as EDGE. EDGE is excellence in design for a greater efficiency. Australia uses Green Star, that's the rating system. Malaysia uses GBI, Green Building Index, And then again, Canada has borrowed from America. They are continue to use LEED, whereas DGNB used by Germany and CASEBI is used by Japan. That's a comprehensive assessment system for built environment and efficiency. Let me explain to you that basically the context of the buildings remain the same what we have studied. It is only to what extent they go into detail, what are the peculiar circumstances existing in that country, that is included in the rating system. In India, the rating system came only 19 years back. It was in the year 2001 when Bill Clinton that president or ex-president of America, he came to India and he is now promoting the global, looking at the global warming, and he's trying to advise the country, let's check the global warming. He's like ambassador. When he came to India in 2001, he contacted CIA, and then he said, what are you doing with regard to the building to make this world sustainable? Then CI said, we don't have anything. We do, in India, there is no kind of thing. Then he said, then he insisted, since India is a big country, India has a lot of connotation. India remains number 4 country in the world. So far as the carbon footprints are concerned, India has a large population. That's number 2 in the world, holding 17.3% population. So therefore, the implication of buildings are going to be very, very large. And last time we said the India needs 700 to 900 million square meter of space annually. And then looking at, the new buildings which is required to be constructed based on the population which is, growing and which is migrating to the city, I think they said India must evolve a system. So therefore, in 2001, and he said the USA is going to help you out, and USA Green Building Council said they partnered with the CIA, and they said start use a rating, it's a rating of the building. So green building concept came in the year 2001 when CIA collaborated with USGBC and Confederate. CIA is the Indian Confederation of Indian Industry. This is a 125-year-old institution which is looking at the industries and other paraphernalia, and they set up a vertical, a dedicated vertical, a center of excellence. That was IGBC, Indian Green Building Council. That was the first council to come up in the country, which was basically collaborating with USGBC to induct a system of green building in the India. So now I said from 2001, then came Griha, then came Lead, and last is now the Gem, which have come in, which are totally now having 4 kind of things. So they say, the in by 2022, it is said that India will be, required to uh, certify 10 billion square feet. That means 1,000 crore of built up area will be coming up for certification. And you can think of the money generated will be around 35 to 50 billion US dollar. That is the amount of business which is going to generate, because they have major implication in terms of the product, in terms of certification, manpower, etc. So this is going to emerge as one of the major career in the domain of architects and engineers who want to take up green building as one of the profession. That is we will discuss about that. So we will say that India now is rated second. Within 19 years, India has gone up in the rating system, number 2 in the number of projects rated and number of the total square foot area. And let me tell you this, IGBC has already been in the process of the building which have been rated, which are in the process of rated, that is 7.55 billion. 755 crore स्क्वायर फीट ऑफ बिल्ट अप एरिया जो है, ये आईजीबीसी is trying to do it. And let me also explain to you, this is only 5% of the total built up area which has been made green. You can think of what can be the scope and what are the requirement for sustainability in this country so far as built environment is concerned. I said there are 4 rating agencies in the country. India IGBC is Indian Green Building Council, which is the oldest. Then came GRIHA, Green Rating for Integrated Habitat Assessment, with the Energy Research Institute. LEED is the one, because LEED got separated from IGBC in the year 2014. After working for 14 years, then LEED said we will dictate everything. But IGBC said no, we are matured enough, we can do our own system. And since we are in India, we know the Indian context much better, and we cannot allow the American concept to be enforced in India, because the condition, climatics, physical, social conditions are totally different. So therefore they said IGBC and lead, they separated in the year 2014, and in 2014 lead said we will do our own business. So they are also doing, USGBC is now having, they again separate system of leadership. That's basically they are same IGBC and lead, but they vary in certain contexts and detail, etc. That we'll talk about. This is leadership in energy and environmental design. Last is GEM, that's ASSOCHAM, that's another institution which is looking after industry and business, and they have floated green and eco-friendly movement because they think this is a good business, which this system makes it. In addition to, they are trying to promote sustainability, etc. So please, there are 4 systems. Each system has a defined criteria for rating. Buildings are rated on giving credits on that defined criteria. And please understand, these rating systems are developed not unilaterally, but through a consultative process. In this consultative process, like IGBC, they have number of architects, engineers working with them, those who know and have the expertise in green building. So they are the one, which are the people who are in fulcrum and who will take up all the studies. So there are studies to be made. Then there is a consultative process, since it's a built environment, so the into environment, so there are architects, there are engineers, there are builders, there are consultants, there are developers, there are owners, there are institutions, then there are manufacturers, then you have industries, and then there are numerous code, energy conservation building code, national building code, then those air conditioning and heating, they have the Rasher and ISHRE, they are there, and then BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, they have their own system. So all these codes, they are all consulted, and there are studies made, and then the people who are involved in planning, design, construction, maintenance, ownership, etc. of the built environment, they are all consulted when these programs are evolved. In addition, industry is also brought in, because all these materials which are going to be used ultimately have to be, made in industry. So manufacturer and industry also roped in, that how can they provide those green products which can be used in the, making the building green, because when you can't use it all the things which are available in the markets. You have to have, products which are manufactured to a specification based on, their least energy and their greenness. And there is a Green Pro, GREEN Pro. Please look at this side. They have more than 1,000 products listed which are green products, and look at the specification. They have been made and they have been manufactured based on, the premise that they are not using chemicals, they are not using much energy, and they are not producing much waste. So those kind of things are there. But let me also tell you, rating is not compulsory. Rating is merely voluntary. You have constructed a building, well and good, you may or you would like to get it rated, or you don't want to get it rated. This is absolutely up to you. So therefore, please don't think this is a compulsory, otherwise they should have been compulsory, because if the buildings are having so much implication, if we have to make buildings sustainable, I think there must be norms and standards that each building must be rated in terms of energy, in terms of, water consumption, etc., because it is in the larger interest of the community, state, and the nation. Because you are looking at the resources, how long we can go on consuming the natural resources. We have to make sure that building become least consumer of energy and resources, and also waste generator of waste. So this can all be done if they are, buildings are planned, designed, constructed, and maintained with the focus on this. But looking at the context that green building remain relevant, green building are important. Green building form part of the 17 sustainable development goals, and India is already a signatory to the Paris Agreement, by which it is said that India will, try to reduce the energy and resource component of the building and cities, so therefore it becomes essential that buildings are made as far as sustainable as possible. In order to, since this is a very ticklish thing, it is beyond the government, so you can only put it in your bylaws, but government has its own mechanism that government is now trying to incentivize, that means they are trying to give you over and above what you are allowed. So more FAR means floor area ratio. There are state which gives 15% FAR additional free, suppose you are given 1,000 square feet of built up area on a plot, you have what is permitted by bylaw is 15% extra means you have another 150 square feet, and instead of 1,000 square feet you can make it 1150 square feet. If you have 1 lakh square feet of area, you can 1 lakh 15,000 square feet, you get 15,000 additional area. And this is the incentive which are offered by government, minimum of 5%, they are going up to 15%. In addition, Punjab, what they are doing, that whatever scrutiny fee they are charging, that's around 2.5 rupees or 3 rupees per square feet of the plans which you submit, they are all waived off in addition to additional covered area. So they are trying to give you that kind of benefit. There are, municipality which are giving you rebate in your property tax, so that people are basically, convinced, and people are motivated to design the green building. So there are rebates, there are additional affair which the government is trying to do. So I said these are the 4 rating system in India, and let me also explain to you what these rating systems are. That IGBC is accounting for more than 90% of the, the area rated green in the country. They have 7 parameters on which it is run. There are 52 criteria on which the building is evaluated, 10 are compulsory and 42 are optional. There are 4 ratings which are granted. It's a platinum is the highest, gold is the next, silver is the third one, and last is the 14 for certified. Minimum pass marks are 40. You have to, on a scale of 100, there is a total scale of 100, out of 100 you have to get minimum 40 marks to be certified, going up to 75 for the platinum rated. We'll discuss. And there are 26 rating systems available in the domain of the IGBC, which touches residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, healthcare, schools, colleges, and then your villages, your cities, then your railways, railway bus stand, all these buildings, they have the separate rating system. So there are 26 rating system available. Next comes Greha. Greha is the green rating for integrated habitat assessments for Greha. Do you know this is this came in the year 2006. They have 2 systems. One is the total evaluation, other is the for smaller projects less than 2500 square meter, and for the larger one there are 34 parameters. For the smaller one, projects is a 14, so that it is quicker. Marks are again 150, and then you have to score 50 minimum marks in case of larger projects, and 25 marks in this case of smaller project, where you go for fast mechanism of this rating. But there are ratings are given in stars. There are 5 star, star 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For you have for first star, you have to get minimum 50 marks. 50 to 59 is 1 star, then 60 to 69 2 star, and then you have to go beyond 90 if you have to get the 5 stars. Next come, I said, lead, and in lead there are total again 6 sections, that is same what IGBC is there, but there are 65 criteria. 7 are mandatory. Mandatory, when I refer to, that means if you don't comply with the mandatory, that means building is not going to be certified. So 7 have to be done, like in in the IGBC it was 10. So there are 7 you have to do it, and 58 are optional, and that's what evaluation is done on that. And then again, there are four kind of rating. That's a lead platinum, lead gold, and lead silver, and lead certified. And the score for minimum certification remains, lead certified is 40. In case of green and eco-friendly movement, GEM, which are latest entrant, they are again having 28 evaluation criteria. 3 are mandatory, 25 are optional, and their total mark sheet is 130 marks, for gem 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 gems are given to you in rating, and for you have 40 minimum marks you have to score. So let me repeat again for you what we discuss, what makes a building green. Number one, I said working with nature. That means you have to design your building a sustainable building. That means we were trying to say make best use of your Panch Bhuta, the five major elements of nature, of which this total universe and that we are all made of. That's a Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. They are included as part of the evaluation. And secondly, when we defined the green building, we said a green building try to achieve five components. That is trying to conserve natural resources, use less water, have maximum energy efficiency, generate less waste, and provide healthier environment. They are another components. And then we have the total system, what makes a building green. We talked about their planning and design, we talked about climate, we talked about waste management, we talked about water efficiency, energy efficiency, material use, construction technology, we talked about indoor air quality, and there are innovations, how you handle the site, etc. That were the component which were there. And then we talked about the energy conservation, that you can do it by three mechanisms. That is by passive design of building. Then these whatever fixture you have in terms of light, fan, air, etc., that you are having, they are rated, so that they provide efficiency. And then how you are generating electricity through photovoltaic cell, or wind energy, or biomass energy, or geothermal energy. They were the issue which we were looking at. Then we were looking at water efficiency, how much water you are trying to conserve, through your equipment, that's toilets, urinals, and wash basin, how much you are recycling the water, how much rainwater harvesting is done, and ultimately what landscaping you are trying to do. They are all basically looking at. Then we're looking at, we said we look at the material which are made from waste, material which are locally available, material which are given by nature, that they can be reproduced, and material which are generator of waste, which minimize energy consumption, and which are not basically eating away the vital resources. Then we said you have those landscaping, etc., the plants which help you out in improving your indoor air quality, beside your ventilation, etc. So I think that is what we were trying to look at. And then we also said, that what are the benefits a green building were trying to communicate with you. It was reducing energy. But when you are saying your energy consumption is low, please don't think you are being made uncomfortable. No, it is only we're trying to reduce energy, but we're giving you the same level of comfort. But don't think that you are going to have AC at the level of 16 degree or 17 degree. That's not there. AC is required because your body temperature about 23 to 24 degree, 23, 22 to 26, if you keep it, that is the optimum level. If you do it 16 degree, that means what you do, you first put AC on 16 degree, then have a blanket over your, in the summer also. This is not the cooling, that's not the human comfort. So comfort level, you must know the humidity and the the temperature that has to be maintained, and 22 degrees is the minimum temperature. You should never go below your AC setting below 22 degree, and then you can go up to 26 or 27 degree, and the energy consumption will immediately go down. Then we talked about water consumption. Then we were trying to check, that it reduces the size of heating, ventilation, air conditioning, transformers, cabling, because you are designing a perfect system for optimum performance at the local level. Then once you are, saving, that means you are trying to reduce the operational cost of the building. And then once you are not using the, conventional sources, that means you are not destroying the flora and fauna and other things which nature has given you. In addition, the green building, look at your soil loss from erosion. That means, what you please understand, the top soil which is so, fertile. Can you think, you take millions of years to make it? That earth has taken it, and what we are trying to do, we're trying to just, remove it, make bricks, and then use it. And we are all eating away the precious soil, which nature has given, and this soil is to be used for productivity, etc. In the case of green building, what it is trying to mandate is that once you have, dug your these foundation, you don't have to hire a truck, and then take away that soil. That is a very precious soil. You have to keep it and put it as part of your, this site. Cover it. It is not allowed to be wasted, and after the building is completed, it is again used within the site itself, so that the fertility remains within the site. It is not thrown out. And then you have the mechanism that you don't allow the land, through rain, during rains, there is a soil erosion and there is a loss of soil. No, topsoil has to be protected and preserved. This is what green buildings are trying to mandate. All flora and fauna has to be respected and preserved. So you are trying to reduce air and water pollution. You are minimizing the waste generation and try to recycle it. And we said it's not a linear kind of approach. It is going to be, circular approach. In circular approach, there is no waste, because last what is left is again used as one of the raw material. Then you are trying to reduce the pollution, and then, you are making people healthy and happy, and you are improving the productivity. In addition, that if you have a building which is a green building, you can get more rent. And please understand, all multinationals which are coming to India, before hiring, they will ask whether this building is a green rated or not. They will pay more for the rent, but they know they are going to save out of the water bills and the electricity, because they are all running air conditioning, etc. So ultimately, the government of India, I said, is giving incentive in terms of FAR, in terms of, rebates in the your this plan checking or the property tax, etc. So this is the context of the green building rating. And please understand that these benefits are only available to the people, only available to the buildings who are rated as a green building by the agencies which are certified. Right? So please, I would request somebody, who is having the mic on, because I'm getting disturbed. Their noise is coming. So I'm now coming, after having explained to you the context of the IGBC, this green building. I'm now coming at, I'll take one in detail, because then most of the things I'll explain to you in brief. But one thing I'll explain in detail, that what goes into making a rating of a green building. So I said, that green buildings first is done by the IGBC. IGBC was formed in the year 2001. It's a non-profit research institute. Its headquarters in Hyderabad. It is part of CIA, and it started in collaboration with the IGBC, with the USGBC, And the vision of Indian Green Building Council is for green building that that means India is to be made number one country so far green rating buildings are concerned, number one. Then number two, that green buildings should be available. It should be, the cost should be cut down to that level, that it makes accessibility of green environment to each and every person who wants to have it. Initially, now we have it cost more. Last time we said it, you can cut it down to 2% or 3%, whatever it is. But we are trying to say that even green building will cost less while in construction. And third motive is that India has to become the global leader in energy efficient buildings. That is, by 2022 will take over China, America. We are 10 billion square feet of green footprints are going to be created. Look at this building. This is the first platinum rated building. Last I show you this IGBC headquarter in Hyderabad. So this building is now zero energy building, and this is the platinum rated building. This is the highest rated building, and rating was done by USGBC. Oh, that time, because they were there, and it was inaugurated, started in 2001 and finished in 2003, and it was designed by architect Karan Grover. You know and then this was inaugurated by Dr. Kalam, our most revered president of India. He came to inaugurate this. And please look at this design takes care of all kind of passive system which could be think of. Look at the roof. You have photovoltaic cell, you have a green roof, then you have a courtyard, you have wind tower, which are cooling this. Then you have landscaping, then the orientation, and the entire water is recirculated. It was just a barren land when it was handed over. Now it is the most green land. The sewerage is done through a phytometric technology. What is phytometric technology? In phytometric technology, you do not have an STP. This the your this solid waste, that liquid waste we come out from WC is made to flow through a system of plants, and the plant take care of disintegration of the solid matter and disintegrate it, digest it, and ultimately you get a fresh water without using any mechanical system or any treatment. This is known as a phytometric treatment of the your liquid waste, and this helps in not only conserving water, reusing the water, but also growing landscape, etc., that water can be used. There it is. So they are the elements which have grown into that and which have tried to make this building as a green building. If you have to be an opportunity to be in Hyderabad, please, we can arrange visit for you, to visit this, both as an individual or as an institution. You want to take your students, you are at liberty, contact us and we will arrange for you not only visit to this place, but explaining you the total system. What, please understand, the photovoltaic cell which have been put up there, they are both sides. It is not that when the heat is put on this, they convert into energy. No, these cells are like this, that heat which goes into the roof, which is reflected back. The back of these photovoltaic cell also absorb that heat and generate electricity. So this is, both side it is acting. So there are a number of innovation which can be explained. So I said there are 26 rating system, and there are few which are indicated here. They are having for new building, for existing building, green zone. There are societies in green interiors, hospitals, schools, factory building, data center, the green campuses, green villages, townships, green landscape, SCZ, economic zones, then you have green cities, You have even railway station which are rated as green. And then MRT, Delhi Metro, their Delhi Metro is all rapid, rated as a green. And then green affordable housing, and also the other this logistic which is there. And let me also explain to you now that these are the 7 things we said which goes into making a building, and accordingly the rating, green extent of green rating, is evaluated on all these 7 parameters that each have sub parameters on which we will see. So broadly, there are sustainable architecture and design, site selection and planning, water conservation, energy conservation, building material and resources, indoor environment quality, and the innovation development, what you do. So each has its own marks, for overall marks, and then they are evaluated on this. So if you look at this, I said there are 52 criteria in this which have, which are part of these 7 broad criteria. So you can think of the marks given. For sustainable architecture and design, there are 5 marks. For site selection and planning, there are 18 marks. There are energy conservation, 28 marks. Building material, 16. Indoor environment quality, 12. And innovation and development, they are 7. But you would say oblique, you also find, in fact, this is, the first is owner occupied building, and the other is a tenant occupied building, where there are central kind of activities which are there. So that's what the marks variation is there. When we talk about, when we talk about first component, there are 5 marks, and that's divided into, the evaluated integrated design approach, the site preservation, and the passive architecture. And in this, they would like to look at, that if there were trees, etc., were they preserved? If there are water body, has it been preserved? How many, there were natural things which have been taken off. So they are all trying to see. And then for as architecture, in the site also, they will try to see how much you are covering. Are you covering the entire site? Are you making it out all hard? Is there a percolation of water, etc.? So your design approach, your orientation, etc., and the climatic zone condition, they are all looking at. So that's what we were looking at, how you are orienting your building, how you are giving your projection, you are not allowing heat to come in, and if there is heat is gained, then how you are promoting the heat loss. Then your site selection and planning, that means what site you have selected, how it is far off from your basic amenity. Is there water supply? Is there a sewerage? Is there bus stop near? And then if there is a natural topography, have you leveled it or not? How many trees were there? Have you cut it there? How much heat land reduction you have done? Heat island, it has on roof, off roof. On when you talk of heat island reduction, that means you will have minimum paved area, and they will look at how much parking area you have given. If you have given a parking area in basement, it's well and good, then there's no problem. But if you have given in the open large area parking area, then are you shading that parking area or not? Or you are having that kind of that is percolating concrete, pervious concrete we have got in America. All these parking lots which are, they have huge parking lots, but they do not provide any drainage system that for that parking, for the reason the concrete used is a pervious concrete, so that whenever the water falls, the water percolates through concrete and it goes in the you know the earth itself. So therefore there is no kind of these drainage system which is there. So they have that kind of concrete which doesn't break with water. It's known as a pervious concrete. So if you are having footpaths, are you going to have the pavers made of which the recycled material, and then are you having holes with the grass coming out of that, so that there is minimum hard surface and you have water. So if you have an undulating site, have you leveled it? You get a minus marks out of that. So like you are in the roof, if you are to cut off the heat gain from the roof, so that means either you are putting a white paint. There are now cool paints, which will not allow the heat to be percolated. Heat will be emitted. Second could be, or you can make it green. Thirdly, you can have, those tiles, white tiles you can put in, or you can have, those photovoltaic uh, that cells put mounted on this, which shade the, their roof, etc. So there are all kind of things which you are looking at, while evaluating the selection, site selection and planning, for which the marks are given. We'll look at that. Then water conservation. And water conservation means how you are using water during the construction. Are you using the natural water? How much water is being wasted? How you are using the rainwater harvesting, and that is both, roof and non-roof. They will look at the plumbing fixture. Are you having water efficient fixtures or not? What kind of landscape design you are having? Are you treating water, recycling water, or you metering the water? I think that is what, they are trying to look at. Are you storing the rainwater for your construction use in the construction? They will give you additional marks. For energy, they will look at, if you are doing air conditioning, are you using air conditioning based on chlorofluorocarbon equipment? Then what kind of bulbs and fixture you are trying to use? Are they rated? Are you using the LED bulbs, etc.? So there are, are you using the daylights? That all kind of things. And then in addition to, what you are using the natural light, etc., through your windows, etc., are you generating your own electricity on the building, on the site, or off the site? You can be given credit if you are producing electricity anywhere else, and then, making it available. Then what kind of plans and measure, and what are your air conditioning system? I explained to you yesterday, like you are designing a hospital. In hospital, I said all your operation theater has to be air conditioned. So if you put your air conditions, this these operation theater on the western side, that means you are heading for a disaster, because they are the hottest region in this. Or you are putting in the southern side, that's again very, very hot. So that means you are first trying to gain the heat, and then try to, eliminate the heat, and that you can think of what will be the load on the, AC, etc. So if you put on the northern side, you will find, there are no heat gain. It's all cool. You have all the lights, throughout the day, but there is no heating involved. So that means there is no heat gain at all. That means your heat load will be very, very reduced. So please understand, when you have to design a building, I said yesterday, for they on design a building, see which are the best orientation, which is the bad orientation. Where bad orientation means there is too much heat, or there is too much humidity. The good orientation means where are the ambient temperature are there available. So you divide their area into, livable area where the human beings are to stay, and the non-livable area. There I said, in a house, you have a bedroom, you have your drawing room, you have kitchen, etc. And they are all here, where you will invariably there. In an office, it is all your major office area which are going to be usable, right? Then there are non-usable area, that's your garage. There is, that is your stores. There are staircases, there are, washing rooms, etc. They are certain area where the not many people will go, and not for a longer duration. So that is where, you put them in an orientation. Similarly, when you are doing a building which require this air conditioning or heating, then please, you see which is the best option available, and put that area on that side itself. Then we come to the building material. So in building material, what we are looking, that you are handling the material. What kind of material you are using? I said use local material, use material in the natural form, and then don't bring material which consume high energy in its construction and its manufacturing, where the raw material is basically taken out from 1,000 kilometers, brought in a factory, then they are all treated, then brought to you, transported to the site, and then used at this. No, look at this. Whatever material is available closely, then we are looking at how you are looking at how much material waste you are generating, how you are using the reusing the waste. Suppose you are trying to construct a building by demolishing an existing building. So please, that time, what you are required to do, your architect has to do a great job. He has to first assess the existing building. What are the good product which are available here? Are there good doors, the windows, there are almirahs, and there are other material which are available which can be taken off, and the architect, if he does a thorough job, he can do a great thing. Those very, the earlier a teak was used. Now nobody uses a teak because it's very, very expensive. The old things were very old or gold, in most of the cases, if it done nicely. You have seen how the old buildings are and how the old material are, in terms of their workmanship, in terms of the quality of products and the life of those things. So if the architect does a wonderful job, then he takes off while demolition. They make sure, that those usable material is taken off safely. And then that is adjusted in the design of the building they are used, Secondly, they will try to see if there are bricks, they will try to retrieve all natural bricks, and if there are anything, which is destroyed, they are used as a filler in the building itself or recycling itself. So that architect has a very great role. And now, please understand, C&D waste is becoming the major problem for handling by the municipal bodies, because they are not digestible. They don't get dissolved, they are going to stay whatever they are, whatever you do, so ultimately what they are trying to do is that most of the country in Canada, etc., it's a mandated that you have to use 70% of your material within the building, and if you don't it, you pay the fine itself, so people are trying to use it as part of the building itself, and ultimately that is there in cities like Gurgaon, etc. Because of the C&D waste, there are new rules come in. So now they have having yards, where the C&D waste is transported and put there, and they are again recycled and made into building products and made it available. You can see all pavers, etc., and even the concrete, they are going to use it, and then they are trying to reuse and put it back in the building. I think that is the context. So building material and resources, that's what they are trying to look at, whether you are using green material, you are using reuse, you are making using material made from the industrial waste or agricultural waste, how you are handling your waste, etc., and what kind of products and equipment you are using. And I said, there are already more than 1,000 products which has been certified as a green product, so if they are used, that's what the intention is. You get marks for that, 16 marks for that. Then indoor air quality, they will evaluate if there is if people are smoking, then they are not allowed to smoke. There is a separate zone. You must have seen in airports, there is a separate room and separate space provided where people go and smoke. If you smoke and open, you are fined and you are penalized, so there is a tobacco smoke control area. There is enough fresh air ventilation. That means around 8 to 10% of openable space of the floor area has to be there with you. Then where the people are, working, are there monitors, where carbon dioxide, you can immediately check the what is the level of carbon dioxide, that is it gone in the danger level or not, because this will impact your health, your hygiene, your function, and your productivity. So then they will make sure that you use not volatile organic compound. You are using only low emitting compound material, paints and adhesive, and if you are using carpets, they are certified as green carpets, then daylighting remains one of the most crucial element. To what extent you are using, then You are also using, the outdoor pollution. Like you put lights, you're not putting lights that it is all lit outside, etc. You have to minimize the light pollution. That means light must be concentrated on an area where you want to do it. And then your fresh, the indoor air quality management during construction. And before you occupy, have you tested it? And then you made sure, that when you occupy the building, there is minimum, you know, the there are problems in this, and there are, there are pollutants in this. Last is innovation and development. So these are the six parameters which are there. But in addition to this, if you have done something excellent in design, because you have excellent innovation, there are water body, you have maintained and, use that water body as part of the design. You have, all the stones, etc. The stones have been integrated as part of your design itself. Suppose there are trees which are coming within the built up area. Have you put the courtyard, etc.? If the trees are coming on the, your boundary wall, have you made the boundary wall in such a manner that you have respected the tree? And then what are your plantation, etc.? That's the all to look at. So if you are trying to, and that's in design process. Similarly, they look in structural design. In structural design, they will look at, are you trying to reduce the self load? Are you using the blocks instead of bricks, which consume the valuable soil? Are you, using, you're reducing the self load and making building lean, smart, etc.? What is your structural component, and how you are trying to innovate the structure to make building really beautiful, functional, and green? And then how much water you are using during construction? In fact, I think that is what needs to be looked at, because it's a huge amount of water which is being used. And that's what, there's prefabrication provides you the one of the best option. That is where you are not doing construction. Buildings are not being constructed. Buildings are being manufactured, As a civil engineer, I think we have to go for new technology, because we can't have on-site construction. If we do that kind of things, I think India is not going to do justice. We will remain, uh, laggard in innovation. We will go on wasting material. Material will be all, where there will be loss of material, both by people, and also by nature. Then there is material prone to damage. You need security, you need supervision. You don't know what the quality of building is going to do, because you don't have a control on the manpower which you are employing. So if you do a, the prefabrication method, that means you are now converting the construction of a building in manufacturing. You are taking the next stage, manufacturing building somewhere. They are being brought it within 3 or 4 days, or maximum, within a week. You just fit there and finish the building and go there. You don't need water. You don't need, these large manpower which is to be housed there, and उनका घर बनाओ, सब कुछ बनाओ, कहने के लिए जगह दो. They are not required. You don't have to deploy manpower for very, very long time. They only come and go. And this is what is very, very important. But then you are making optimum use of, resources, number one. Number two, you are having standardization. Number three, you are not to bother about the, the this quality of this. Fourthly, you don't have to deploy manpower. You don't have to do the supervision. You don't need to have a quality check. So manpower control, loss of material which is to be stored, and you are all running all the time and bringing material, and yeah, that's what the prefabrication offer, and there are, that's a great advantage. In fact, in all these developed countries, they make 2 or 3 months, they may take 4 months to design your building. But once they freeze your building, they'll not take more than 1.5 or 2 months, to construct whatever may be house. You may have a 4,000 or 5,000 square feet of house. You have a, 6 bedroom house. they'll come and finish within 1.5 to 2 months, but only once you freeze the design, etc. So this is what we are looking at. So this is basically what I was talking to you, how the 100 marks are divided. They are the 52 parameters, which I said. 10 mandatory, 42 are optional. Then each parameter is given a design. Like I said, sustainable architecture and design, there are three components. So three components have 5 marks. They are all there. Integrated design approach, site preservation, passive. Then site selection and planning. They are, they have 14 marks, and in which two are mandatory. That means local building regular, your building plan will have to be sanctioned. That means you can't start with the unauthorized construction or building plan which is not. It's a mandatory. You have to have a building plan sanction. Number one, you are constructing. Number two, you have a soil erosion control. That means you are trying to place those material soil which is taken out and protect it. And then there are 11 other criteria for which the 14 marks are there. Similarly, water conservation, water efficient plumbing, landscape design, management of irrigation system, rainwater harvesting, roof and non-roof, water efficient plumbing fixture, water metering, etc. They are all having 18 marks divided. In energy efficiency, you are there are 5 components. In addition, there are 3 mandatory components. That's ozone depleting substances, and then minimum energy efficiency you have to achieve, and commissioning plan for building equipment system. That is means ACC, etc. And then you have 15 credit, this 28 credit, for which major credit 15 is enhanced energy efficiency. And then for on site renewable energy generation, 6 marks, and off site there are 2 marks more. So therefore they are, this is 28 marks. Similarly, building material resource, that segregation of waste, then sustainable building material, for which you get 8 marks. And there's scales, based on which, and there are details already given how they are trying to evaluate. Then for indoor quality, fresh air ventilation is must. And tobacco smoke control is a must. Then marks are given on for your carbon dye monitoring, daylighting, outdoor views. Then indoor pollution, minimizing indoor pollution, low emitting material, occupant well-being facilities. Like you have gym, etc. put in, for that its marks is given. Indoor air quality testing, indoor air quality management during construction. And then there are 7 marks which you get in innovation. Innovation in design, 4 marks. Optimization structural design, 1 mark. Water reuse during construction, 1 more mark. And if you have IGBC accredited professional, you get another mark. So this cumulatively makes 100 marks, and they are 52 criteria on which you are evaluating each one. It has to be seen, it has to be proved, and it has to be submitted, by the person who wants to get it committed. And then it is done by experts evaluation, and then they come, the total score is added. And this, if you get 40 to 40, minimum 40 up to 49, you get a certified. That means you are already green, you have adopted the best practices. For silver, 50 to 59, that means it's outstanding performance. For gold, you have to have a minimum score of 60, you can go up to 74. That means it's a national excellence in terms of building. And if you are going for platinum, you will have to score minimum of 75 marks. That means you are at the level of global leadership. So this is the 4 under IGBC which is being awarded, and how this is done. I'll go through the principle, the process, how you have to get the building rated. Number one, whenever you have to get a project rated as a green project, first thing you have to do is go for a registration of the project with the concerned agency. This remains universal. Every 4, we talked about, you have to register and registration is online. For IGBC is www.igbc.in. You just go there, you tell them that you want this project to be rated. So they'll ask you get registered, then you get registered, because once you get registered, once you submit your registration that you want to have the project, then they will give you template, they give you all the document, they give you all the calculation which are required to be done. They will require, ask all plan elevation section which are to be submitted. You are there, then they'll ask you what is the brief of the project. So then, you know, that is made available. So after you have registered, you are given template and you are given all documents. The project team, those who are want to get it evaluation, they will they will load those document on that site on the which is made available. It's all, it's there's no human touch. That's what you are online making submission. So once you are made a submission, the in-house, IGBC will look at whether you have given all the documents. They'll see all the requirement have been fulfilled. That means whatever plan elevation section reports, etc., what is required, they are already there, approval there. You have already filled all the forms. You have completed the total, project profile. So after they are accepting, they find this okay. If they don't find okay, they'll send it back. Please submit these more document so that you complete it. Once you get it, do it completion, they'll send it to a third party. So there are assessor, which are identified by IGBC, because there are a lot of work, there are a lot of specialization required. So they very, they have limited manpower. So what they do, they have assessor who are highly qualified. They are expert, they have knowledge, they have all kind of assessment tools available them. This is sent to a third party, they assess it, they go through all these 10 plus 42 52 parameters. Otherwise this has also been gone through by the in-house team, but now it is being assessed. So after this assessed, they are the whatever the observations are, if they are okay, okay. If they find this is okay, and if there are observation that they need clarification, they need additional document, they need few plans which are missing, or they want a project report which should detail out this kind of thing, then this will all be referred to the project team back. So project team will look at that, project team will complete that, and then they will resubmit the final documentation. Now the documentation remains complete. So after you have submitted the complete documentation, is team from IGPC experts, they go and visit the site. They look at, which what you have projected on your in the project in your documents. Is it there or not? You say, I have, water metering. There is no meter. You say water has been circulated. Even fresh water is being metered, and then water which is goes for irrigation, that is metered. You have to have a meter. Then what kind of air conditioning systems are there? Air light ventilation systems are there, right? They will all look into the whatever you have projected, so that they will look at in terms of on the site whether the profile you have given complies with what you have done in the ground. So it is done by the site visit, and if there are deficiencies, they are pointed out, because final rating is given only after building is complete. It is not given midway. So after site visit, you are pointing out, your review is done, and if there are any deficiency, they are asked to be completed. And after those completion, then they'll see what is the final rating, and based on final rating, this rating is communicated to the owner, or the team, that this is what we have made the evaluation. And if the team feels, because that total valuation performer goes to them, that how much you have scored in 52 parameter, 42 10 and 42, how much score you have done, how many marks you have been given. And if the project team feels there are, there is a problem that we have been, this aspect has not been concerned, we have given the documentation but marks are given less or they have been ignored, they can go on for appeal. They can tell that this needs to be added, and if they are satisfied, they'll accept the rating. And based, after the rating is accepted, then IGBC presents a plaque and a certificate indicating what level of certification is achieved. So I said there are four level of certification: certified, silver, gold, and platinum. That's awarded. So this is the total project. Now, I have explained to you what is there, and what. Let me also tell you what the document you have to submit. It's a general information about the project, including project brief, stating what is the type, what are the type of building, what is the occupancy, how many, number of people are going to be there, what are the number of floors, what is the, total area covered on all floors, etc., what is the FAR achieved. Then there are drawings in PDF, that is, you have to give the master plan, you have to give the site plan, you have to give the layout plan, then you have to give the parking plans, then you have to give plans for each and every floor. If the building is 10 floor, then all 10 floor plans will have to be given. Then all elevations, if there are one block, there are all four elevation. If there are two blocks, there are four of each. That means all plan elevation of each block will have to be submitted. Then you have to submit the sections. Minimum two sections are going to be there. Then you have to submit photographs or rendered images, filled in templates, narrative, sporting documents, calculation drawings and Excel sheets. There are declarations, there are contract document, where are you buying, what are the, you have to give purchase invoices, you have to give from manufacturer, which manufacturer you are trying to procure the material, then what is the specification of that product, then letter of intent which you have issued or what the supplier has sent. Then there the material test report, there are new material, the test reports you have to give. So they are to be given for each mandatory requirement and 42 credit which you are trying to do it. So there are two kinds. The submission for certification is in two phases: preliminary submission and the final submission. That's what. And the award is, the certification is only given in the final submission. In addition, this they have, IGBC has another kind of system. This is pre-certification, or provisional certification. That means, suppose you are going to ask your development authority, I want to have a green building. So they will say that we will give you benefit of green building unless you get it rated through this. So building is yet to be constructed at the plan stage. You can get pre-certification. Like there are projects which require Ministry of Environment and Forest clearance, and the government of India said if your project are pre-certified by a green rating agency like IGBC, they will have a quicker kind of clearance, for the reason they have already been gone through a process. So therefore you have a, the builders, they are trying to promote that this project is a green rated building. How they are trying to do before they start with the project? Because they have got the pre-certification. In pre-certification you have to meet all the requirement which is done. You have to specify, you have to give all undertaking, what are you trying to do it, then that's all evaluated to what level you are certified, and that is given. And that pre-certification is available only for 3 years, and within 6 months, every 6 months you have to send a report that you are complying with this and this is what has been achieved. And after 3 years, if you don't complete that project within this and get it rated, all those provisional and pre-certification rated are taken off. You have to get it again redone. So this is for pre-certification. It is same, that you are online project registration, then you do a preliminary submission of documents is reviewed by third party, then you are doing the final submission, again reviewed, and then you are accepting it and giving provisional, pre-certification, which is for valid for, I said, 3 years. So there is provision of appeal, that in case you are not certified, you can go for appeal, that you have been ignored in certain area and you need more, you are eligible for more marks. They are all there, but this is rarely done because this is all a, you know consultative process which is taken care of. Cost remains, the two kind of system, for IGBC member, for non-IGBC member. If you want a pre-certification and provisional certification, it's a lump sum, 150,000 or 185,000, irrespective of your size of the project. But in case of other, it is divided into three slabs. If the project is less than 5,000 square meter of built up area, then 5,000 to 50,000, and then 50,000 above, In the two minimum and higher, this is all lump sum. That is, in case of below 5,000, if you are a member, 140,000, you will pay 1.4 lakhs. If you are annual member, 1.5 lakhs, and if you are not member, 1.6 lakhs, And then in addition, if you are above 5,000, then you pay 10 rupees per additional square meter above 5,001, And then if you are above 50,000, then the rate, is a lump sum, 5.9 lakhs, 6.25 lakhs, and 6.35 lakhs. These, amount do not include the GST. So this is available for the various category of registration. First, we have finished with this. This is basically the ambit which remains for all kind of things. I'll now quickly go through Griha. Griha is basically an evaluation system which was evolved with Ministry of uh, Energy and Renewable Energy and the TERI, the Energy and Research Institute. The government of India said we will also do our job. And this is they involve a three-tier process. Number one, you have to submit, you have to get registered, you have to submit the document. After, before you submit the document, they will also try to give you a kind of, training. They will brief you before you start with the project, that all participants, that's architects, engineer, owners, then, consultant, the people with the mechanical circulation, heat wire, HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, then, all plumbers, plumbing experts, structural engineer, they are all brought together. They are given a training. They are briefed what makes a building green, and before they start doing this. After they are briefed, for 1 day or 2 day, they will submit this, and then, this then building after they are after you have submitted this, they will you start with your construction, and there are three kind of site visit which are done. Number one, when you are at plinth level. Number two, when you have already done your all construction, civil construction. And third, after you have done your interiors, when the building is finally complete, the three visits shall be done to report it what you are trying to do, and based on that, they will do that kind of things. So ultimately it is again evaluated on five major criteria. That's again site planning and site selection, and then conservation of, energy conservation and water conservation. Third remains sustainable build material. Fourth is building operation, maintenance, management, and fifth remains innovation. There are 10 against 26 type of certification. There are 10 variants of certification. There are three pre-certification, and there are seven others, and they are, doing existing building, affordable housing, day school, green cities, rating, and large development. That's what they are looking at, So ultimately, what they are looking at is that they are trying to uh, evaluate at buildings at three in two groups, that is one small buildings, other large building which are having, covered area less than 2500 square meter. For that, they have a system of Swagraha. That means it's a quick and efficient, simple, efficient system of evaluation. So it is done quick, and even the criteria are listed are less. It is 14 criteria as against, large project which are more than 2500 square meter. And for that, there are 34 criteria, which based on which this is to be done. Greha is again evaluated on a 100 system. I said for two projects, larger projects, they are evaluated on a scale of 100, whereas smaller projects, they are, evaluated on, 50 marks. So minimum marks, pass marks requires 50 in a larger project and 25 in the smaller project. And the rating is granted star 1, star 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the highest star you can get it, and 1 is the minimum star. So this is your scoring pattern. From if you have to score minimum 50 marks for the large projects, you get 1 star, 50 to 60, 61 to 70, 2, 71 to 83, 81 to 94, and 91 to 100 is 5 star. There are 34 criteria which are used for evaluation. Number one is site selection. Number two, preservation and protecting your landscape. Third is soil conservation. Then design. Then reducing hard paving on site. Enhancing outdoor lighting system. Plan utilization efficiently. On-site circulation and the travel, etc. Then minimizing level of sanitation and promoting safety, reduced air pollution, then reduced landscape water demand, reduce water building waste, then efficient water use, optimize building design, then for reducing your energy efficiency, then optimizing energy efficiency within the building, then fly ash as a material or industrial agriculture for the buildings, then reducing embodied energy, then use low energy material in interior, renewable energy utilization, then if you are a water heating system, that must be based on renewable energy, wastewater treatment, water recycle reuse, reduction of waste during construction, efficient waste segregation, storage and disposal of waste, resource recovery from waste, use of low volatile organic compounds, adhesive or sealant, minimum ozone depleting substances, water quality maintenance, then outdoor, minimizing outdoor indoor level of noise level, then that eliminating tobacco and smoke control, and then we have accessibility for people who are having disability. That means building have to be made accessible. That was not part of the IGBC. Energy audit and validation, and then operation and maintenance, and then innovations. These are the 34 criteria based on which the buildings are done. The procedure remains: you are registering, number one. Number two, there is a orientation workshop, I said, for all the people who are engaged in planning, design, and construction. Then online submission of the document. Then, they are evaluation of that thing. And then you are doing the due diligence. There are 3 site visits. I said, first when project is at plinth level. Second, when your structural work is completed. And thirdly, after the total building is complete, then the expert will go and check at that. The expert includes public health man from landscape, solar passive design, the architect, building energy system, renewable energy, and plumbing engineering. These are the experts which go and this. After they evaluate it, they come back. The evaluation process is also done by outhouse also. So that's a, there is a done more transparent manner. And then after that, then in-house they will check it, what is the score which has been done, and ultimately this is referred to National Advisory Committee, which gives the final certification. So final certification, I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star. The cost remains, they are again doing for 5,000 square meter, they'll charge 3,14,000, and then they are charging 3.75 rupees per square meter above 5,000 square meter. whereas in that case it was 1 lakh 40, and then plus they come to around same kind of things. So this, the cost includes workshop cost and the evaluation. And I said for the smaller project of less than 2500 square meter, they have a system where 14 criteria are there. There are 50 marks, and this 50 marks is divided into five major categories. That's a landscape, energy, water and waste, materials, and others. But what is there? The numbers are given here: 6, 8, 21, 11, 8, and 4. And you have to score minimum 50, in each. It is not that in one you score 21 and another you don't score, No, you have to score 50% in each case. Only then, you will be getting a certification. And again, certification is 5 stars, that was starting in 50, it starts in 25. That was on a slab of 10, it is slab of 5. So 25 to 30, 31 to 35, and this is how you get 5 stars. In case of leadership and a lead, which I said they were the first who started the system with the IGBC. They are back after the year 2014 because they said, there was some conflict between IGBC and USGBC, because USGBC said we will dictate this. So ultimately it was said, let's part and do our own things. So they are starting, but they modified their own system. They remain by and large what IGBC is. Evaluation remains on 100 points, no problem. Whereas in case of IGBC, there are 52 criteria, 10 mandatory, 42 other. Here they have increased into 65. That is 7 mandatory and 52 other. The criteria 6, major criteria on which the building is evaluated remains same. It's a site, water efficiency, energy efficiency, material resources, indoor, and the innovation and design. In addition, they have put in, instead of 7 marks, they are giving 10 more marks for your innovation in the design and considering this. But they are also following the pattern of 4 kind of certification, and that's lead, silver, lead certification, lead silver, lead gold, lead platinum. And they also follow the same thing. For 40 to 49, they give you certified. 50 to 59, they will give silver. But in case of gold, IGBC was doing 60 to 74. They are taking it 60 to 79, And in case of IGBC, it was 75 and above when you get platinum. Whereas in this case, you have to score 80 marks under lead, And so this is what their system, following the system, that site, water, energy, material, indoor, and then, integrated approach to this. So they are the, 65 parameters which I'm there, of which I've tried to explain you on terms of sustainable side, water efficiency, energy efficiency, material efficiency, and then indoor environment quality and innovations. Of course, this is more detailed, and they have certain more details and certain aspects. They are focusing more on materials, and then daylighting, etc. The marks also vary, the weightage also vary, but by and large, they follow the same kind of principle which are used in greening the building. So these are the 4 certification. That's a lead certified, lead silver, lead gold, and lead platinum. Last remains is a gem rating. I said this is the new entrant. They just entered about a year back. And this is the IGBC launch was launched by CIA. This is launched by Association of Chambers and Trade Association. And again, I said they have one certification system. They are looking at all these of things which they have already been, we have discussed. They are looking at the codes, they are looking at the planning, design, energy, water, material, and indoor efficiency. And they are also into basically evaluating all kind of uh, systems, buildings through only one. There is only one, evaluation system, not 26 in the case of, IGBC, and 7 in the case of Greha. So It's trying to look at both existing as well as, you know, uh, proposed building. So it's a rating system which is trying, which is again, becoming a reference guide for the architects to design and also for the agency to evaluate it. They also follow the system of pre-certification, provisional certification, and final certification. And the process remains same. You first go for registration, then you submit the document, then there's a review of the document, then the things are referred back to the project team for finalization, and after the building is completed, they have to give the total documentation, then that is again reviewed, and before you come to the final conclusion. Only they say we'll take less time and we'll do your job quick, and we'll try to finish the job very quickly. They again, I said, they are using 28 principle, 3 mandatory and 25, but they are having a scale of 130 points, as against 100 in case of Greha, Lead, and IGBC. They are having 30, 130, and then they have, least number of criteria, as against, 52 in case of IGBC, 65 in case of Lead, and 34 in case of 65 in case of Lead, uh, uh, 34 in case of Greha. They are only having 28. They are also awarding, certification in terms of like stars. Here are gems. They are Greha is doing stars, but the that IGBC and Lead, they are doing the same. They are platinum gold. Here they are stars. Here they are making it gem 1, gem 2, gem 3, and gem 5, and they are basically looking at, they call it principle of, design, water and energy efficiency, and then indoor air quality. And these are the 28 principle which they are talking about. Three are essential. Number one, government approved plan, then construction management and best practices, and parking for building occupants, and then landscaping, then preserving trees, then building material, rainwater harvesting, low flow fixtures, on-site treatment of wastewater, irrigation best practices, energy and water consumption, post-auction waste management, on-site conversion of organic waste, and then they're talking about amenities for fundamental needs and daily commute, best practices for building design, exposure to volatile organic compound, and then they are looking at sustainable development of construction engineering practices. They are looking at local materials, the use of wood and softwood, and their energy management best practices, then efficient electric equipment, then using imperishable energy sources. You are promoting optimum use of natural light, healthy indoor air quality, training and capacity building of the project team, then corporate social responsibility activity they are linking, and then if you do extra, they give you 100, they cumulative make you 130 marks. So your certification in GEM again remains 40 to 49 in GEM 1, 50 to 64 is GEM 2, then 65 to 84 is GEM 3, and then 85 to 104 you get GEM 4, which 4 gems, and then if you are above 105, then you are in the absolute highest category, that is GEM 5. So with that, I conclude, and I have tried to explain you in brief what the total ambit of rating is. Of course, this require, even one rating will require your so many things, that you need a full training to come to the basic conclusion that how things are rated. There are many things you have to go through, and this is what uh, because of the limitation of time, I'm only trying to tell you the principles. I'm trying to tell you what goes into the rating of these building, and then we will only say that we have to do our system in such a manner that buildings are rationally evaluated. We have transparent system. We have all the things which are, used in making of a green building, and then you have to very carefully evaluate and lay down the system by which you can really do a justice that it should not be made so tough, and people are not, you know keen to get it evaluated. But I think it's a more of facilitation, more of empowerment, more of educating people, that if you have the green building, you are going to be in a win-win situation, because you are going to make the building, and you know for your entire life, that you are going to make a building sustainable. Before, in addition, you are contributing to the, sustainability, resource conservation, and you are looking for the next generation in terms of, your uh, when you construct the building. Thank you very much, thank you very much. And if you have any question, please, you are welcome to ask. I finish it here.
So thank you, sir. Participants, sir,
Yes, sir.
yes, please.
Yes, please.
I want to ask, sir, thank you
Surely.
for this excellent and enlightening lecture. I just want to ask one thing, that is there any government law which mandate that public buildings should be rated?
In fact, there are no law. I said, there is no mandate in the government, But, government of their own, like CPWD, which does most of the government job, they are trying to, you know, ask, get building rated. But, the government buildings are such big and such huge, that they need to be done. And, when I said rating is it's not obligatory, it's optional, it's voluntary. You may or may not do it, but I think
But it should be,
looking
sir.
at the looking at the context, it should be made mandatory. Why it should be, left to the option? Once you know it's a consumer of energy, it's a consumer of resources, you are cutting down water consumption, you are cutting down energy consumption. Why are you holding it back? I think you should be able to do it. You should ask the, each and every building should be planned, designed, constructed, and managed as a green building. That's what I would suggest. But ultimately, education remains a problem. Can I request all of you, since you are all concerned with the building, number one would be green building should be made part of your study curricula. Am I clear? So that all
Yes, sir.
engineers will come out or architect come out, they must know what a green building, what are the advantage, what is the context, and how you can make a green building. Secondly, that your own campus should also be made green. I think that is what will be the great learning for the students, and that's what you should have student chapter established in all your institution, please. Green building chapter, they are free, they are available, and we can do your job, and we can get you connected. It's only educating, creating awareness for the students, etc., and for learning. Surely I can tell you, once the student understands the context of green building, and he makes green building as a culture, professional culture and professional practice, you will find this world will become much better. People will become much healthy. You will do a much better, much more justice to your client, that you are trying to make him healthy and happy, and also saving a lot of money on the energy bill and the water bill which he pays. That's what I would like to say. But I think the point raised by you is very, very good, that why can't we make the green building? I'm not saying rating, I'm not going for rating. I don't say the building should be, should get it rated. No, building should be designed, planned, and constructed as a green building. That's what my aim is. Am I clear?
Sir, yes,
Yes.
sir. Sir, second thing, you have explained that there is a smoking zone in the airport.
Yes.
The whole airport is not the place where we can smoke, but there is a smoking zone. So what happened to the carbon dioxide which is evolved there?
In
Is it
fact,
not mixing? It is mixing.
yes, no, no. In fact, what is done, in case otherwise, if you're free for all to smoke anywhere, You're all mixing smoke anywhere, and there are, there are active smoker, there are passive smoker. Entire people who are using
Yes, sir.
the airport there. But once they do, they have a dedicated area, they have dedicated system, that immediately carbon dioxide taken off, and there is so much fresh air inlet, and there are carbon sensors put in, they immediately go on monitoring. Is there a concentration? But they have inbuilt mechanism which will have full ventilation in that area, and they'll make sure, the carbon concentrate does not go above the permissible limit. So there are different kind of ventilation criteria and parameter put in for that particular zone, which have to be taken care of as part of planning and design of that no smoking zone. Am I clear?
Sir, in the last lecture, yes, sir. In the last lecture, you have told about the CFC, which is emitted due to the AC, and that is affecting the ozone layer also. So,
Yes.
what amount of CFC is released by them?
In fact, all these cooling
Is it
system, all cooling system use chlorofluorocarbon, That's what is being used as the
yes.
basic gas. But now the government is asking that gas you fill in, they should not be chlorofluorocarbon. If you use chlorofluorocarbon in your cooling system, when you are getting the green building rated, they'll give you minus marks. But government on its part is also asking all the companies which are in air condition, or like their fridges, etc., and coolers, everything, they are asking, please don't use this gas, use a neutral gas. That's what they are. It's a mandate now, and they are ultimately, there's a time limit by the time this use of fluorocarbon will be totally eliminated.
Sir, one thing also you was explaining about the Sorabji building, which is the green building you told. So
Yes,
you
sir.
told that PV cells which are attached to the roof, they can not only convert the solar energy into the electrical energy, rather than that, the light which is falling on the roof can also be converted due to the reflection. So how the
This
cells
is
are
the
arranged there?
Yes, no, they are like that, but the cells are not new cells. There are different kinds of cells. They operate on both sides. This is new thing, which have come in. This is not normally done.
So
So the
what is this,
cells
sir?
are both side cell. Those cells are, they're like sensor. They are on the top. Are absorbing the sun energy. Right, and they are converting
Yes, sir.
into the energy, electricity.
Electricity, huh?
Then heat. Which goes reflected from there. The back of that photovoltaic cell. They are made of that material that they use the heat to convert into energy. So that's a specialized kind of cell which are not being used too much. They are a bit expensive here. They have been imported, and they have been first time demonstrated there. Where you belong to? Which area you are from?
Sir,
Hello?
I am originally from Jharkhand, but I am working in West Bengal. I
West
am
Bengal.
from physics background.
If you have an opportunity, please,
Yes,
if
sir.
you can visit, that will be great. If you want that kind of details, though, I'll procure that detail for you from that photovoltaic cell and make you available. Right?
So certainly I want, sir, because I am physics person, so I want to know
Surely,
that what
surely.
happened
I
there.
think that this is a great, because you are only whatever sunlight fills, and light is being converted into that. Whereas in case of air, heat is also
Yes,
both sides of this. This is being generated as a electricity. That means the efficiency is very, very high. That's what it is.
yes, sir.
Right, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anything
So
else?
can we take, sir, can we tell any green building as a smart building, or there is any difference between them?
There is no smart building means what? A building driven by technology.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes.
is a smart building? A building which is driven by technology. That means you are minimizing the human operation. That means building itself is intelligent. You don't have to, you don't have to do anything. I am giving the example. You are entering in a class. Nobody's in the class. All the lights will go off. Right?
Yes, sir.
Am I clear? That's the
Yes,
intelligent
sir. Yes.
building. Nobody have to put on switch on and off. Like at night you want to go to your uh, college, your office, you want to do a work. All lights are off. The moment you are, intelligent building will be doing what? The moment you will enter the main gate, the sensor will recognize you, open the door, right? Automatically. You don't need
Yes, sir.
a security man to come in this. Secondly, you are walking down the corridor, you are going to your room. The moment you are walking the corridor, the lights will be on. They will light you, only for you. You take the staircase light. You go to your room will open, and the lights will be on. The moment you enter, all the lights will go off, and you will, use it. The moment you will go out, everything will close down. This is a intelligent building, right? But
Yes, sir.
intelligent building cannot be necessarily a green building. Here, they are only trying to manage the energy, right? It's
Yes,
managing
sir.
the energy. But I said green building has 7 components. So here you are
Seven
only
point.
looking at the, like you can have water. If you are putting sensors, you putting a hand, the water will be on. If you take off the water, hand, the water will. That's it's a water conservation, right? So you are,
Yes, sir.
you can, if the building is green, if the building is intelligent, ये सोने पर सुहागे वाली बात है, ठीक है? The building will
Yes,
be
sir.
going at a
Hmm.
much, higher level of efficiency in terms of use of material, right? That kind.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to
Thank you, sir.
say,
Excellent.
a smart building will not be a green building. A green building is much
Green
better,
building.
but a
Yes, sir.
green building can be made smart building, and it will be much more efficient. It will go beyond 5 star. It will go beyond platinum
Yes.
in operation, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Participants, anyone else? Any query from participant side?
Hello,
Yes, please.
Yes.
hello, sir. Am I audible?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes, sir. I am asking that a constructor, as an engineer, I can convince a constructor to go for a green building because it consumes less energy, less CO2 emission, less water, and solid waste is also reduction is possible. But how can I convince a constructor for go for a rating to give so much money for nothing, just a certificate? How can you convince a constructor for go for a rating?
What I said to you, that once you get a rated building, right?
Yes, sir.
I said you can get it rated. Hello?
Hello, sir. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
What you asked?
What I said was, you tell the client, that what are you going to get, in addition, what you spent, 5 or 6 lakh, which I said, huh? He is going to get minimum 5% additional FAR. If we suppose a building 1 lakh square feet, if we get 5,000 extra, that means 5,000 square feet of extra space he is getting, huh? In addition to
Yeah.
what he would have otherwise got. And imagine, no increase in land size. It's the same land. He gets built up area 5,000. If we suppose a building a house of 1,000 square feet, he gets 5 plot extra, So 5 lakh of rupees on the same land, if he gets 5 extra houses, huh? In addition to 100, which he was getting for 1 lakh, if he get 105, he can sell for how long, He will get much more money because it is being given as incentive, free FAR to him, which a built up area is what, A built up area is what? Built up area is cash, or particularly in a commercial building, built up area is a hard cash. More the area, more is, earning you get. More you sell, more you rent out. What's the problem, Is it clear or no? So he gets all the money. Instead of 6 lakhs, if he for 1,000 square feet, that, flat, for which his cost of construction may be 2,000, he get, 1,000 extra out of that, 1,000 into 1,000, he give make 10 lakh of rupees per plot, for flat. but he get 50 lakhs of rupees for paying only 5 lakh of rupees. In addition, once he says, my building is a green building, that means everybody is saving in energy and water bill to the extent of 40 to 50%. He can have higher premium of what he's selling. If he sells at 30 lakh, he can charge 35 lakhs, because he is offering a lifetime opportunity to people to cut down the cost, operational cost of the building. Right? That is the benefit which you are looking at. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
So
Okay.
I think everyone is happy as well as satisfied. So, sir, we must conclude now.
That's what I'm.
Thank you, sir.
I've taken more time. I've taken 2
No
hours.
worries, sir. No worries. No worries. We will just shift on the another lecture 10 minutes later. So, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. I think now all the participants must be familiar with the concept of green buildings, and we'll try to go for these green buildings if we opt for any type of construction for ourselves, yeah, for our relatives. So, sir has beautifully explained in the first lecture the concept of green buildings, and today he has explained us the concept of rating of these buildings. That is how we can get the certification of these buildings. What are the global parameters for ratings? What are what is this rating system in Indian context? And then what is green building design evaluation system? So he has given us all the detailed information regarding these criteria, like GREHA, and then newly introduced technology of this GEM rating. So hopefully, I think we all have grasped a detailed knowledge of this concept. So with the end of this session, I thanks architect Kumar Gupta ji a lot. Sir has been always instrumental for us. He is always guiding us in for such technologies. We are always free to contact him. And participants, if you are having any such query related to this, you can have sir's mail ID from me, so that in future, wherever you want to implement this green building technology, you can consult him through mail. So I will definitely provide you. So thanks a lot for this wonderful and beautiful session. So we are very grateful that you have spared time for us and given us 2 informative lectures. That is, one was on green buildings and second was on the rating of green buildings. So with these words, I conclude, and thanks sir a lot, and all the participants. Thank you, sir.
I would also like to thank the Sabor Singh ji for giving me the opportunity, and to all the participants, who were very patient and were very sportive and who spared their all valuable time. I know they're all teachers and they're so learned, and it's very difficult to, listen to so long a lecture. But surely I would like to place my gratitude to them. I hope I am of some relevance and they must have understood the content. I can't do the total justice, but surely an idea they must have what the green building is and what the context is. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you, all the participants. So participants, as we are a little bit late in concluding this session, so we will again reassemble at 11:45. Instead of 11:30, I repeat, we will reassemble at 11:45 a.m. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.